know what? If you're that goddamn passionate about what's going on over there, get a plane ticket, pack your shit, go live there for 8 months and see if you can change it. Listen, you can feel how you want all the blood money and they got slavery, but sit this one out. America's not clean by any means.
No.
So sit this one out.
It's been just over a week since Dave Chappelle dropped The Unstoppable on Netflix, and instead of the conversation cooling down, it's somehow getting louder. That tension spilled straight into the latest episode of the Spears and Steinberg podcast, where Aries Spears once again planted its flag firmly in Chappelle's corner, while co-host Andy Steinberg spent much of the episode pushing back. What followed wasn't a polite discussion so much as a running argument about free speech, power, hypocrisy, and whether Chappelle is a fearless truth teller or a billionaire comic playing the victim. At the center of the debate is Chappelle's claim, repeated in the special, that he can speak more freely in Saudi Arabia than in the United States. For Andy, this is where things start to feel off.
I disagree with Dave completely. I don't think that he can say things there. He got permission to say things there because the king basically gave him the right. He says it. The king, I was agreed. I'm agreed, and I can say these things.
But within the context of what he was talking about, I think you're misinterpreting it. When he said, he even made jokes about the fact that he could trash transgenders there all day long.
Yeah, no.
And there's no cancellation. Whereas here, he can't really do that.
No, there's no government that's going to come after him.
No, but the whoever the cancel people are.
Yep. And that's the best part. Whoever the cancel people are. So who's canceling him? And then the other part of that is, wait, before you get to that, Netflix stood up for him, and they told the cancel people, get the f- out the room.
Well,
so what is Dave complaining about?
They stood up for him because he's a big cash cow for them. If anybody lesser than Dave might not have been able to get away with that.
It doesn't make a difference. Dave was the one, and he was able to. So, and Dave is the one who said, I can't say. So I have to say this to Dave. Dave. Because Dave.
That guy.
Yeah, that guy. Because he proved that he could do it, and he turned it around. And if I was Netflix, I would be like, I stood by you. What do you mean you can't say this?
No, I don't know. We might agree to disagree, but I think you're misinterpreting what he meant.
You're saying he's like playing the victim too much?
There's a little bit of it because he's saying, I can't say what I want to say in America, but I can say it in Saudi Arabia.
No.
Yeah, that's what he did. It's exactly what he said.
Okay, listen, technically, he said it all here, too. So he did say it, and he could say it. But he also said, which alludes to what he said later in the special, my voice is becoming so powerful.
Aries isn't interested in whether Chappelle is protected. He's focused on whether someone is willing to use that protection to draw a line. That disagreement feeds straight into the blood money argument, which takes up a huge chunk of the episode. Andy's position reflects a common criticism. Performing in Saudi Arabia is fundamentally different from performing in the US because Saudi Arabia currently restricts freedoms, exploits migrant labor, and suppresses political expression. Aries doesn't deny any of that. Instead, he flips the lens.
Since we're talking about the Saudi Arabia thing, let me say this, and this is part of what inspired me by watching this. And I know you haven't seen it because you've been, at that point when I'm doing it all.
I saw it.
Yeah, so long story short, I said this thing where I basically talk about, like Dave, I too performed in Saudi Arabia. And like Dave, I, like all the other comics, caught the flack from the people, blood money, blood money. And as I'm saying on stage, and I'm say here, this combination between white arrogance and white hypocrisy is astounding to me. Because while I'm hearing about you going over there to get this blood money, and I preface it by saying, I'm an American, proud to be, will die an American, greatest country in the world. And then I also say to my white fan base, who I don't want to alienate, but I have to tell the truth, and often truth offends. You guys' arrogance and your hypocrisy, stop it. Because in my 36-year tenure in stand-up, 95% of the money that goes in my pocket is American money. And again, exceptions to the rule. Africa twice, Europe twice, about to be third time, Middle East. But my currency has been American. When the f*** is American currency didn't have blood on it? 400 years of free labor off the bloody backs of my people. At one point, I even looked it up. I think it was around 1805. Slavery was 60% of this country's economy. That's blood money. The American prison system. Often black people have served harsher sentences, longer times than their white counterparts for committing the same crimes. And the American prison system is big business. So stop it with the blood on the hands to me, because for the last 36 years, I've taken nothing but blood money.
In Aries framing, if you're cashing American checks, you're already participating in something morally compromised. Andy isn't convinced. He pushes back by pointing out that critics aren't just white liberals clutching pearls. Many of them are focused on the present, not the past, on the fact that people in Saudi Arabia right now cannot freely leave their jobs or criticize the state.
First of all, I said I think you should do it. I thought you should go to Saudi Arabia. The blood money part, the couple parts with this, though. I looked at your feed when I don't read social media that often, but when you did and you said that you got a bunch of criticism about this Saudi Arabia and the blood money, it wasn't white people it wasn't just white people that were saying that to you.
Well, I mean, nothing is ever just one.
It was a lot of black people that were saying it to you. And the reason is, Aries, the reason is because for the reason you just said, is that 400 years of oppression, slavery, whatever, what you have. And this is a country, though, that when you use a hot take like what you just did, saying blood money and because of slavery, but you're performing in a country which still has slavery.
You know what? If you're that goddamn passionate about what's going on over there, get a plane ticket, pack your go live there for 8 months and see if you can change it.
Well, I think what you did and what all the comedians that went there did, and bringing, you could say however good or bad that you want to talk about America, but more freedom, more opportunity here than I hate to even say it that way. Let's just say that there's a little bit more freedom to move about here in America than there is in Saudi Arabia, and I think that you guys brought some of that freedom, an American version of it, to Saudi Arabia.
For me, it's just, and again, don't want to seem like we're getting off topic, but this still is within the topic of what we're talking about. It just brings to mind that Farrakhan, Mike Wallace interview when he says, how dare America? So I just listen, you can feel how you want all the blood money and they got slavery, but sit this one out. America's not clean by any means.
No.
So sit this one out.
But I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just I'm explaining to you what's going on your feed.
What's interesting is that even when they clash this hard on politics and ethics, both hosts agree on Chappelle's skill. Aries describes Chappelle as almost bilingual as a comic, capable of delivering dense intellectual material one moment and crude throwaway jokes the next. Andy agrees that Chappelle is brilliant, but draws a distinction. Louis C.K. is tighter, more consistent with laughs, while Chappelle seems more interested now in being interesting than in chasing punchlines. That difference is framed less as a flaw and more as a conscious choice. One example they circle back to is Chappelle's Falcon callback.
I thought two funny-ass jokes, or the funny joke when Dave did the thing about the Falcon. And he said the Falcon got the mask on. He goes, oh, this can't enjoy the show. And when he takes the mask off, the Falcon goes in the air, shoots down 200 miles an hour, and kills. There's a woman, because when it happened, her popped out. Man, this is why this can give you the educational, intellectual, which I thought was brilliant when he did the whole Jack Johnson thing.
That was really brilliant.
He can give you the intellectual filet mignon 5-star restaurant exotic meal, and then he can give you the greasy cheeseburger in a brown paper bag with fries with raw shit, and then the popped out. Oh God, that combination of being able to do both is one of the reasons why, to me, I think he's one of the most revered comedians on the planet. Because some guys could either give you one or the other. The fact that he's bilingual comedically, that's a gift. That's a gift.
Him and Louis C.K.
And again, I said, I slept on Louis.
He does
Dave's punches
the
a little
same,
harder.
He does the same
but Dave,
thing.
no,
where they
no,
just go goofy with it and just give you the
no,
jokes.
No, Dave's sharper to me. He's sharper than Louis C.K. to me.
I'm saying they do the same thing.
How can they do the same thing as one?
Because they both give you
how
the substance to something.
Young boy, quit talking for a second. How can they both give you the same thing if one is sharper than the other? It's not the same thing.
The conversation gets even messier when they touch on Israel and Palestine. Chappelle's comparison that the world erupted over the killing of one journalist in the Middle East while hundreds of journalists have been killed elsewhere becomes another flashpoint.
But let me go back now because I'm just looking at my note. So when he brings up the point about Saudi Arabia, and he brought up the point where he goes, Israel just killed over 200 journalists. Didn't know we were still counting.
Bada bang.
Wow.
Okay, powerful voice again.
But is he wrong?
Yep. Now, he's not wrong, but when you say journalist,
Okay.
I mean, it's the same thing the UN's using, same thing Mark's going to use right now. If you have a phone and social media and you get a credential that says you're a journalist, so now you're a journalist, even though you're going to go in the middle of a war zone, told not to go there and get blown up, but now you count as a journalist. If you're holding the camera, you're
Journalists are always in war zones.
Yeah, but you're also told where to go and where not to go. Is that not true?
There's been plenty of bomb strikes.
Yes.
On places that they said were safe zones.
I'm
and
not
shit like
minimizing the fact that there's been a lot of journalists that have actually been killed.
that. So you're saying all the journalists were in the wrong place?
Listen, I don't know much of what you guys are talking. I don't know. Listen, I don't know what much of what you guys are talking about. But based on what you're talking about, let me ask you this, and then you tell me. So whether they're journalists or not, when he's saying that while the Middle East was catching for killing this one particular journalist, there were this many journalists that Israel killed. So what game are we playing?
That journalist wasn't in a war zone. He was actually called from the comfort of his house to come meet the king or to come have a interview at the palace, and then woke up dead.
By the end of the episode, Aries keeps returning to one phrase: sit this one out. In his view, Americans, especially those profiting from American systems, don't have the moral standing to lecture others about blood money. Until the U.S. fully reckons with its own history and ongoing injustices, he argues, the outrage aimed at comedians performing abroad rings hollow.